Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about the rumors on trading of NBA players to Lakers and how he responded to it. So let's find out. The Los Angeles Clippers have had a bit of a guard turnover in recent seasons, with players like Lou Williams, Rajon Rondo, and Patrick Beverley all joining and then leaving the team. The Clippers are looking for guards to complement their stars Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They are an odd team to figure out because at times they look like a clear-cut winners. However, there are times when the team loses its momentum and appears to be no more than a 5th or 6th seed. Regardless, this is a playoff contender who, with a few moves, could find themselves consistently atop the Western Conference. They recently traded Rajon Rondo, Patrick Beverley, and Daniel Oturu to Memphis in exchange for Eric Bledsoe. The deal was perplexing because Rondo is a good pass-first point guard, and Beverley contributed determination and a bulldog mindset to last season's Clippers team. The Clippers clearly have high hopes for Eric Bledsoe, who can play one or two positions, but is a big three of Bledsoe, Kawhi, and George enough for the Clippers to make a championship run? Even if you answered no to that question, there is one player who has completely changed the dynamic of the entire NBA. As a result, any contender will be related to the majority of the market players. People are always talking about the prospect of big name player joining a playoff-bound team. While some of these ideas are crazy and make no sense, the prospective transaction we're talking about today would be a wonderful fit for both the player and the organization. The Clippers could use a true superstar at point guard. Many good teams such as Lakers with Russell Westbrook, the Warriors with Stephen Curry, and the Suns with CP3 feature a fantastic point guard. So who exactly is this player who would be a good fit for the Clippers? Damian Lillard is the answer. Blazers' Damian Lillard responds to lingering trade speculations. Damian Lamonte Ali Lillard Sr. is a professional basketball player for the Portland Trail Blazers of National Basketball Association. He was an All-American third-team selection in college basketball for the Weber State Wildcats in 2012, and after being selected by Portland with the 6th overall pick in 2012 NBA draft, he was also named NBA Rookie of the Year. Along with Clyde Drexler, he is one of the only two players in Trailblazers franchise history who has been named to 6 NBA All-Star teams. He's known as the Game Time because of his history of making clutch shots. Obviously, from a budgetary sense, this would be difficult to achieve. Lillard is under contract until 2024-2025 season, and he will earn around $43 million in 2021. That number will only rise as the contract progresses, as he will earn over $54 million in the final year of his contract. Still, if the Clippers can move some cash around, this is a trade that could happen. Trading Rondo and Beverley could have been the first steps toward gaining financial flexibility in preparation for a high-profile move like this. However, we believe that the organization will have to decide whether Paul George is more valuable than Lillard. When it comes down to it, Kawhi Leonard is the player the Clippers want to build around. With a couple of quality big men, a few good shooters, and a solid bench full of depth, and one more star player, this team could be a championship contender. If money is an issue, the Clippers may consider moving George in a potential Lillard deal. The question is that would they rather have Lillard than George? Paul George is coming off his greatest season with the organization, averaging over 23 points and 5.2 assists per game while also stepping up during the Clippers playoff run. Last season though, Lillard averaged 28.8 points per game as point guard, and when you consider that he is a fantastic three-point shooter, he added 7 more points and is NBA's one of the most clutch players. Now, the Trailblazers may ask for George and another player or a drought selection, but they are unlikely to swap them only for each other since, despite the large contract, Lillard is more valuable. They also have upper hand in any trade because Lillard's massive contract. The Clippers' only realistic chance of acquiring Lillard without dealing Paul George is if Damian asks for a trade to the team. Otherwise, the Blazers have no reason to trade him for anything else than a win-win situation. Another crucial factor to remember is that they might wait to trade Damian and start the season with Lillard as their point guard if they find themselves themselves in the bottom half of the conference, when the trade deadline comes around, they may be able to make a move then. But this is all hinges on Trailblazers once again. But last month, Lillard denied that he would request a trade from the Trailblazers, and he still hasn't. But that hasn't stopped the rumor mill from churning about the Portland Trailblazers. Lillard told The Athletic's Christopher Camarani that he knows how he feels about the scenario and that it's good enough for him. In an interview with The Athletic, he detailed the hurdles he confronted in trying to clear the air regarding his situation in Portland. When it comes to trade speculations, in an interview with Christopher Camarani, Lillard noted that he is frequently caught between a rock and a hard place. Last week, while visiting Weber State, Lillard emphasized that he is certain of his position. You reached a point where you must decide whether to defend yourself or remain silent. For me, when I am only hearing things that aren't true, I'm going to claim that I didn't say that. Lillard said some things, but I've simply gotta let it be said that I know what the truth is and where I stand, and it's not my job to make the world aware of it. It has undoubtedly been unique. I feel like I've dealt with it the same way I've dealt with everything else, and I've just let it happen. I let people speak for themselves, and I simply stay loyal to myself and stand by it. If I say anything, I stand by it, since it is what it is at this moment, whereas Lillard may be unwilling to justify himself. While he hasn't requested a trade, the Star Guard did provide some additional information on Tuesday night while answering questions from fans on Instagram Live. When asked if he planned to leave Portland, Lillard responded succinctly, "I'm not leaving a PDX, not right now." At any rate, it appears very likely that Lillard will begin this season in Portland and then move on. While he hasn't demanded a trade, he has stated that he is displeased with the Blazers as they are today and would like to see big upgrades so that they can truly compete in the consistently deep Western Conference. Last season, Lillard was particularly dissatisfied with the Blazers' failure to advance past the Denver Nuggets in the first round of the playoffs. "I think that's the stage we're at as a team where we'll all have to look in the mirror because we're constantly coming up short," he said. In an interview with Yahoo's Chris Haynes, Lillard said, "We have to look in the mirror and say, I have to be better because whatever we're doing isn't working and isn't giving us the chance to compete at the level that we want to compete at." He said that we're not losing a lot and their environment has always been good, but they were eliminated by a shorthanded Denver club that he felt they shouldn't have been eliminated by. Lillard said that he just walked away from it pretty unhappy. He was like, "Dude, this just isn't going to work." Lillard said that we're not a club that's just out here losing every year and getting divided. We have fantastic seasons, we just don't end up with a championship. Lillard has been a steadfast supporter of Portland throughout his career, stating that he wants to play with the Blazers for the rest of his career. He also wants to contend for titles, and at 31 years old, he only has so many years left at his best. As a result, it's reasonable that he's in a hurry, and it's understandable that if the Blazers fail to construct a contender around him, he'll want to move on. What do you think will happen? What do you suggest should happen? Which is your favorite team? Which is your favorite player in the NBA? Tell us all this and give your suggestions in the comment section down below. Goodbye.